Hello, everybody. Hang on a second before we begin. There we go. And voila. Hello, everybody. This is Anthony, Be Honest on Mission Start Podcast. We are back for another week of podcasting news in the video game industry. With me, joining back from his trips from the ever glorious MagFest and from the depths of his mouth being burned alive with peppers, is Greg Dietz.
I blame Slappy Meats for that one. But yeah, no, it was good. We ended up raising $10,000 for Child's Play, and that was just our little thing ourselves. Apparently, all of MagFest raised, I think, around 40,000.
That's really impressive. That's really good. Wow, congrats, man. That's really cool.
So, I'm really proud of everybody and all the work that we've done. So
yeah, it was great, man. I definitely tuned in. I donated a few times when I was watching. I had to make sure that what's his name, Kev, had to eat a pepper, because I was like, your guys were so close. I was like, oh, screw it, I'll put in $50. Make this happen. But yeah, no, it was cool. I really enjoyed what you guys do, and congrats on raising over $10,000 on stream and then more at the convention. Speaking of charities. Now obviously the big news topic the past week was the Switch, was the Nintendo Switch. We are going to talk about it in full length. This entire podcast is actually going to be about it. But before that, we do have to acknowledge, because it just ended yesterday, that AGDQ, Awesome Games Done Quick, I say they do two events per year, one in the fall and one in the winter, or like January, and one in the summer, where they have a week-long event helping raising money for to fight against cancer, Doctors Without Borders, and that they have speedrunners coming in and play all sorts of games from all sorts of realms: first-person shooters, RPGs, platformers, old school, new school. And it is a week-long event, and it just ended yesterday, and they raised over $2 million,
which is unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Like, getting $1 million last year was a feat on its own. Getting $2 million this year was crazy. Like that I didn't think I'm gonna get to $2 million. I thought it would get $1 million, maybe 1.34. But getting $2 million, that's crazy. It's super awesome, super awesome. And there's definitely something I gotta go back and watch, because I missed out on some of the AGDQ stuff, but I love watching it every year. Every time I get to see it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It like 7 full days, and it's a really cool event, and I'm really proud that proud of them. But all of those communities coming together to do that one thing is so cool. So.
Definitely.
Congratulations, guys! You did it.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed it, and we gotta acknowledge that they're awesome and they did their stuff. So and then first time ever for them as well. But yeah, good stuff nonetheless. Now we have taken care of that. Time to get to meat of the matter, and we're talking about the Switch, the Nintendo Switch. Hang on, there we go.
Gotta get those graphics up and whatnot.
Yeah. So before we begin diverging our full thoughts on the Nintendo Switch, let me first go over what exactly was announced. So let me bring up.
This is CNET, and here are the stories that matter.
Sorry, as you can definitely hear that.
Hey,
yes, on CNET.
That was noise. I heard it that time.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see. So
I might hear a lot of sniffing. I'm still getting over mag gunk.
Oh, you get that mag convention disease?
I didn't get it as bad as some other people. There were a lot of people who got it real nasty, but all I got was like congestion.
Oh, you got lucky. That con disease happens more often than you think. If any convention, for that matter.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Apologies for the sniffing, but
Definitely. All right. So, the Nintendo Switch details. So here's what we know. about the Nintendo Switch. So I'm putting up several articles. This is from CNET.com. This is written by Samus Brain. I cannot pronounce that. Sorry, man. So one of the first details is the fact that it's going to be coming out on March 3rd of this year for $300 in the U.S., 280 pounds. It depends on which area of Europe you're in because of Brexit. And then
Yay, Brexit.
I know, right? And in Australia it's $470. And it's like, well, I believe it's like around like 4 something in Canada. Anyway, so it is coming out this year on March 3rd, which actually surprised me. I was expecting it to be like in May or June. I expected it to be this early. The other details regarding the Switch is the fact of a few other things detailed as far as several games were announced during the press conference, which I can actually bring up real quick.
The tech show that looks like a car show.
Hang on.
The car show that looks like a tech show.
Sorry about that. Those autoplay.
Show.
God damn it,
Like
CNET. I'm like quickly on in each link that CNET's on, and it's like, oh hey, it's gonna play this video. Sorry about that, guys. So one of the details about the Switch is that recently a picture came up as far as like what it looks like in the back when you open it up. There's an AC adapter for a connection terminal. So not sure what exactly that is for per se, but I'm gonna say it's for attachments you can attach to the Nintendo Switch of devices that could be used for. A USB terminal, so 2.0, and it can also be used at 3.0 USBs back there as well as an HDMI out, I should say, which is in the back if you open up the back panel of the Nintendo Switch. Other details regarding the Switch is the battery life. So one of the biggest things about the Nintendo Switch that people were talking about is that how long is the battery life when it comes to as far as the Nintendo Switch when it's out of the dock, because that was one of the things that Nintendo was showcasing in its trailer prior to this press conference. And the length of time, depending on what game you play and depending on what your settings are, can go anywhere between 2.5 hours to 6 hours with by itself on a single charge, depending on the settings and what game you're playing. The other details regarding the Switch is that it is going to be launching with several games. It's going to include ARMS, the fighting game,
which looks absolutely fantastic. So I'm down with that one.
It's basically like in Street Fighter, like how Dawson plays, like with his long stretchy arms. Same idea, except all the characters are like that. So ARMS is one of the games that are going to be coming out. 1-2 Switch, which is a party game per se, or game per se in quotations, as I would like to put it. Also, as well as The Legend of Zelda, which is also coming out on the Switch, as well as on the Wii U on the launch day. And then they announced other titles as well. Give me a second here. Where is that? I swear I had the tab for the entire lineup. Give me a second here, guys. Oh wait, it's right here? No. Yeah, give me a second. Actually, hang on. Nintendo.
Somebody's not prepared.
Hey, you know what? I actually was prepared, and for some odd reason, I guess I just did not put it up, or I don't know. Give me a second here, guys. Give me a second.
Well, I'm gonna talk about ARMS for a second since you're kind of. I'm actually like, I really, really badly want to play that game. I know a lot of people are just kind of like, well, it looks like a dumb, and I'm like, it doesn't look like a dumb. It looks really cool, like a fun fighting game, like. And then I watched them play a little bit of it in the treehouse, and I was like, this looks even cooler because it's. You know how like most fighting games have a series of moves that different characters can do? Well, this is the same thing. Like each character has a different set of abilities that can work against each other, and I don't know, man. Like I think people need to chill out.
All right, so I got the details for like what the launch games are going to be. So this is coming off of Polygon.com. Here are the 4 games coming out on launch day. So 1-2 Switch, The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Skylanders, Imaginators, and Just Dance 2017. But the larger window, the games that were showcasing during the press conference, so there are well, actually take that back. This is the games that they didn't show, but were also announced during the Treehouse, the Nintendo event the day after. So we got Has Been Heroes. It's coming out March 2017. I Am Setsuna coming out March. Sonic Mania coming out in spring of 2017. That's actually, wow, that's pretty soon actually. Lego City Undercover coming out in spring. ARMS coming out in spring. Super Bomberman R is coming out in March. Snipper Clips Cut It Out Together is coming out in March. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is coming out in April of this year. Splatoon 2 Summer. NBA 2K18 September. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Fall. And Super Mario Odyssey Holiday this year. Those are the games that are the launch window as far as like what are coming out as far as like for the Nintendo Switch. The other thing that the press conference didn't quite cover, but was later on found out was how much was some of the peripherals. Because one of the things that they were showcasing during the press conference was the peripherals that came with the Nintendo Switch, specifically the Joy-Cons. It even has one part of the press conference where they were showcasing like you can feel like 2 ice cubes if you shake it, or you know, or the shake in
that ice cube technology.
Yeah, like you get to actually feel like there's not. It's just 2. It's a smart. It's HD Rumble. That's what they say. What it is. So the Joy-Cons, specifically, they are motion controlled. One of them actually has a button to where you can capture footage, and I'm gonna assume you can upload to social media and maybe YouTube. I'm not sure, maybe YouTube, because they've been pretty picky when it comes to YouTube content, especially anything that's related to Nintendo. So I'm expecting them to freaking like, hey, this podcast we're talking about it, we'll show footage, and they're probably gonna ding us like, hey, you can't make money off of this unless you're on our program. But
that's Nintendo for you.
Yeah, that's Nintendo. Yeah, pretty much. So they're gonna have some sort of capture device when it comes to video footage of any kind. They had new sensor bar to where they can actually indicate, like if I put my hand up right to the camera right now, it's gonna indicate that I have like rock, paper, scissors. I have a hand for paper, rock, scissors, and it'll indicate that. Or if I put my hand up close to the camera, it will indicate how close my hand is versus how far it is. So some new technology with the controllers that they put in with Nintendo Switch. I feel like this is finally what they wanted to do with the Wii, the Wii original, and they couldn't able to do it back then, but they can do it now. So it kind of feels like that when it comes to what they're showing off. Other things they disclosed about the press conference is that they touted again, like they had like there's a picture of like for a brief second of like here's all the companies supporting us, and here's all the third-party companies that are going to be supporting us, like 80 companies, some of which were actually not real game companies, some were actually just technology companies. But some of them were a few of them were present there. So you had someone from Sega just show up on stage and just talk about yeah, we really support and we want to make some things for Nintendo Switch without showing nothing. Then you got EA representatives coming out there talking about that FIFA is going to come to the Switch and we're really excited. And then you got Suda51 coming out there saying like, yeah, we're going to make a game for the Switch and we're going to show a picture of Terrace Touchdown, which I'm super hype about, but they showed nothing. So it's more like them coming out there and saying like, we support the Switch, and this is kind of showing the fans like, hey, third parties are here to support us this time around. Trust us. But time will tell when it comes to that. Other things that to mention. So I briefly talked about the peripherals, the Joy-Cons. I was gonna say. Give me 1 second here and bring up the prices, because that was the one thing that soon after the press conference was over, a lot of the information was getting out there as far as like the how much was the Joy-Cons, how much was the peripherals per se. So here's, and we're actually bring it up real quick. Give me a second here. I can tell you off the top of my head right now that one of the big things that came out of finding out all of this information is the fact that Nintendo when they listed the prices, they were taking actually pre-orders right after the press conference for people who want to pre-order for the console. One of the things that they put it out there is that if you want the Pro Controller, it is $70. If you want one of the Joy-Con, say you misplaced one, it's say the left one or right one, it's $50 on its own. If you lose, say you lost two of them and you need a replacement, or you want an extra pair of Joy-Cons for whatever game you're playing, it's going to cost you $80. It's going to be the price as far as getting those online. And then the dock itself is around like $80 as well, $70, $80 as well if you want to say like replace it or something messes up about it. It's gonna have to be pretty spendy as far as when it comes to some of these things.
So I'm going to, because a lot of people are complaining about that, but I have an argument why people need to chill out. We are talking about a device that is basically better or as good as, like, let's say, an Apple tablet. How much does an iPad cost?
Nowadays?
Yeah.
An iPad costs, how much would it be?
I'll stop you there before you answer the question. More than $300.
Right, but it could do much more than Nintendo Switch.
We don't know that. What we do know is that the tablet itself on the Nintendo has the capability of doing everything that the Apple that an iPad can do. It's also like that's my point, man. Is it's like it's a touch screen. It's got motion capability inside of it. It can attach controllers to the side. I guarantee you it'll be able to do most of what like the iPad can do. Now, yes, an iPad can do a little bit more in regards to like a tablet kind of capability, but the technology in it isn't that much higher. And the point I'm getting at is that there had to be a give and take situation. I would rather spend $300 on the core system itself and then spend an extra little bit on controllers, especially with the technology that's in those controllers. And it's not that much more pricey than what we're currently spending. Like an Xbox or a PlayStation controller, $60, and these little tiny controllers that look a lot smaller than they are. Well, they are pretty small, but the technology in them is pretty heavy-handed. So I personally don't see an issue with it, but I'd like to hear an argument against it because, again, I don't see a problem with it.
Right, and I will give you that argument in a bit. As far as just going over the other details, also I got the full listing. Well, also the Joy-Con charging grip is like $30, which understandable. But yeah, for the media bit, as far as like prices wise, those are the most prices where people were looking at and kind of complaining about. Other details about the Nintendo Switch that was covered. They also showed off what exactly the actual Joy-Con looks like, what each button does or how it works. So when you turn on its side, you got L and right buttons on the very top. So you could definitely play games depending on what type of game it is. The one thing that it seems to be, even maybe this would be better in other versions of Joy-Cons in the future, but the one thing that always gets me when it comes to these new anything that Nintendo shows off is that the buttons are small. Like I can my hands can do it fine, but when it comes to bigger people, like I'm not quite sure like if they're gonna able to everybody will adjust, but like I feel like people who have bigger hands will just like they're gonna have a kind of I wouldn't say bigger problem, but like an issue just like playing in a game without having to.
I don't know. I got pretty big hands, and
like, what do you think? Like, what do you think of the Joy-Con? Like, you're like, how are you gonna?
Well, I mean, okay. So first off, like, here's what I really like about the system. it is going to cater to a bunch of different play styles. I like the Joy-Con for what it can do. Its transformative like style is really, really, really cool to me. Yes, it's really tiny. It's super, super small. Like they were showing people playing it on Treehouse, and like the whole thing can fit in a hand. But that's a good thing when you think about it, because when it comes time to play a motion control game, there's less of a chance of it falling out of your hand, especially with that wrist strap attachment.
Yeah.
If I'm, if I'm playing a game and it's on the side, like that's gonna feel right to an extent. But ultimately, that's why I'm buying a Pro controller. So that way, when the games come out that I don't want to play with those, my issue with like the tablet the tablet controller for the Wii U is that there was no adjusting that. You had to play with that if you were going to play it. Granted, it wasn't the most ergonomical thing, but it also wasn't the most uncomfortable thing. And I have to imagine that, like, the Pro, or was it Procon?
Yeah, the
Joy-Con.
Joy-Con, yeah.
Joy-Con. I imagine the Joy-Con's not going to be much different, but there's that attachment that you can make to make it a controller. Granted, it's like now a square controller, but it's still an attachment to make into a controller. So that's important to remember. There's also the ability to just buy a Pro controller. There's just a lot of options that can help that out. Now, yes, Pro controller's $80, but it's $80 because the system is so cheap. Like, we have to keep that in mind. And hold on one second.
All right. Well, why you do that? There's like a few other things I want to cover before we dive into the full discussion of it. One of the things that was also detailed was the online service, which they're now doing as a paid service, just like Xbox Live and PSN. They did not disclose what the price is going to be. But one of the things they did say during the press conference is like the online paid service will offer a free game of SNES or NES from their library, free of charge to have it. But the catch is it's only for a month. If you want to buy the game, you have to buy it through their online store. So they're just loaning the game out to you for a month to play. And it, unlike the other, PSN and Xbox Live, where you actually get to keep the game, Nintendo, you actually have to buy the game afterwards. You don't get it for free.
Well, I mean, I'll even defend that, because I think a lot of people also complain about that, and it's easy to complain about that. It's easy to be like, well, if I'm paying for a service, I should get something for it. Well, no, you shouldn't. The service you're paying for is the service you're paying for is for online play. It's like being mad at Netflix when they have to take movies off of their list. Like, you're paying for an overall service. You're not paying to get free stuff. That's just a bonus, Do I think that maybe they should keep it on there? Maybe. But also, I'd like to point out something that Hutch is saying in the chat. What I'm getting at, Hutch, is that the controller is expensive because the system is cheap, not that it's an excuse to make the controller expensive. I'm saying that there's a give and take here. Like, because the system is cheaper than it probably deserves to be, is why it's more expensive.
And I'll throw out one last thing before we get into it. This was actually, I believe, posted today. What's today? Oh, that was yesterday. Okay, so this is reported by attack@thefanboy.com by Al McCarthy. Nintendo Switch Online voice chat will use smartphone.
Give me. Okay, go ahead and say what you're saying. Question for you: Slappy Meats wants to join the conversation.
Oh.
Are you okay with that?
I have to make an adjustment. But sure, we can have Slappy Meats on.
Okay. I don't know if he'll have video.
Okay, audio or video is fine. So I was gonna say, let's see, Regent Fista may explain in a recent interview that we're going to provide an overall online service subscription base that not only will capture the multiplayer opportunity, but also the voice chat capability that we're going to provide through a global app. We think that just as important as access to virtual console content. The reason for that is that it continues to reinforce our commitment to online and do so in that way that enables the consumer to enjoy their Nintendo Switch and still be able to play those connected experiences like Splatoon, like Kart, like Fill in the Blank while they are on the go. Instead of having some sort of bulky gamer headset, you'll be able to do it right off your smartphone, put it in your earbuds, then use your standard mobile device. We think it's a pretty sweet solution that's part of the overall opportunity that we see in the subscription service. Basically saying that their voice chat is just through is through an app on the smartphone.
Here's why I'm okay with that. That to me is no different than, for example, you playing a game on PC and using Discord or Skype, whatever, to chat, to have a party chat while, let's say, you're playing Overwatch. You know, like Xbox and PlayStation have the ability to have party systems, and I feel like Nintendo should have gone that route, but they didn't, and they went with a different route. So you download an app on your phone, you plug headphones into it, beat a bomb, big bang, boom, boom, you're good to go. Oh my god, we're gonna have people join this fucking call. It's gonna be amazing.
So, I was gonna say,
I need more people to argue with me.
well, no, it's just I need to go through all the entire, like, just the details and news about the entire thing before we can really get into it, because, oh wait, oh hey, there's Slappy.
Yeah, I just added him.
Okay, cool. I'm at two. Gonna have two. We got two people. What's the two people in one screen? That's cool.
Go. Let me go ahead and mute your window here, so we're not going crazy at the time. So at least leave your handsome faces up there.
I'm just super excited about the damn thing, and
what?
I know
You're
a lot of people
about something. Gross.
So joining us from the Half Energy Empty Tank crew is none other than Slappy Meats.
It me.
So Slappy Meats is joining us too.
I'm a half-empty Slappy Meats, and here's a Manic Pixie Dirtbag over here.
Hello, I'm a Manic Pixie Dirtbag.
That her.
I am all of those things.
Awesome. Yeah. So more people in for this conversation for the Switch.
Josh on our chat, listening to the stream, does have a point, and that's I'd love to get Hutch in here too, because he's just typing away.
That fucking guy. Hutch has things to say sometimes.
Hey guys, I'm merging two worlds over here. Mission's starting half empty.
There we go.
This is the first crossover we're ever having on the podcast. You know how it's Marvel vs. Capcom? This is Mission Star Podcast X Half Empty Energy Tank.
Yeah, it's the slash fic you never wanted, or never realized you wanted.
But no, Josh or Insabaner in our chat made a very valid point. That does suck for people who don't have mobile devices, who don't have mobile phones, but want a Switch and want to play online.
You got this crazy multi thing going on here. Mm-hmm. It's very incestuous.
I know the Switch isn't perfect. I know it's not. But as Brian of Heat had pointed out to me when we were talking about it the night of, also Nintendo doesn't make consoles like the PlayStation and Xbox. They make toys, and this is a toy.
I see. So, so as far as getting into it, so I'm gonna start with the press conference, with the Nintendo press conference.
That's amazing.
I think just kind of going from where it started to where I know now, learn about the Nintendo Switch, because for me, I actually, this is the most I've ever researched on a certain topic, or just on a console. Because right after I finished watching the Nintendo press conference, I went to other people to get their thoughts. I checked out I checked out Rebel FM. I checked out what was it? It was a streamer I watch online. I checked out multiple people, like of various sorts, to get everybody's thoughts were, just to kind of get an idea as far as what I think about it. Initially, gut reaction after the press conference was over the presentation that they showed did not convince me at launch to get the console. I am very
So you felt
excited.
pretty underwhelmed, more or less.
Like there was definitely some games I was pretty excited for. I'm really excited for Splatoon 2. I'm really excited for the new Mario Kart. I am
New-ish Mario Kart.
Yeah, well, newish. Yeah, that's true. It's true. With the add-ons. I'm confused yet curious about the new Mario, and for some odd reason, it reminds me a lot about Sonic 6.
What are you confused about with the new Mario? Because that's the one thing that I'm the most excited about. If I don't get one on launch, I have to get one by Splatoon 2. Well, I really, really want one by Splatoon 2.
Yeah,
but I
your
am
super
not.
about Splatoon 2. You're not like all about Breath of the Wild?
Oh, no,
I
I'm all
am
about it.
like I really. That's the thing is those three games, Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2, and the new and Mario Odyssey, are the things that I want the most. The other stuff that was there is like, hey, cool, that's neat. But those three things are the things I'm most excited about. And the point I was getting at was like, it's gonna be really hard to get one on launch just because I think a lot of people are really gonna want it. But if I don't get one on launch, I definitely want one by Splatoon 2 because I know I'm going to play a ton of that. But I have to have one by Odyssey.
This is she. Hero.
Magnavox Odyssey to be specific.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are confused about what Odyssey is going to be, and Odyssey is going to be kind of what.
Yeah,
kind of what. What's up, Slappy? Oh, you're responding to your chat.
Yeah, what's up in the chat? Splatoon, like tune.
Yeah.
You say that's a missed opportunity, but I say,
How very dare you, sir? Puns and portmanteaus are my middle name. Both of those.
Yeah. So
Odyssey to me, Anthony, and from what I've read, is it harkens back to 64 Sunshine era, where you basically, I think the hub world is actually going to be that New York world.
Yeah.
And you're going to take that magical spaceship hat to different worlds where it'll be a little bit of a collect-a-thon sort of thing, or complete this objective to get a hat icon. I don't know what the things are going to be. Stars,
some sort of
whatever.
like some shiny thing or whatever.
Right. And as you collect, you'll earn more.
The Mario.
I don't know the plot, but the plot doesn't matter because the game looks fucking fantastic.
I think
Mario plots. What's
Mario.
Like the thing for me is like what I'm confused upon is not the fact of the gameplay or just what it is, but like but like as far as my initial confusion is just in a funny way because like it's so weird seeing Mario next to a kind of real life person, you know, like it has that Sonic 06 vibe. I was like, that's super weird.
Oh, I don't disagree. I think
I saw you post that on Facebook. Yeah, it makes sense to see like the cartoony proportions. All I've really seen, sadly, I didn't see any of the press conference or anything. I just kind of got my shit secondhand from Facebook and everything, and through such folks as Kritzkrieger's lens.
Well,
I saw him just sign on to Skype, so we'll see if he has some opinions or not.
I tried to ask him if he wanted to be a part of the podcast earlier. And he was like, I'm feeling pretty tired.
I trust he has some shit to say.
Well, I don't know.
Saw some. It's see Mario amongst like skyscrapers and shit. Like that itself is weird enough.
It is a weird juxtaposition, and I'm not. Right, it is a weird juxtaposition, and I'm not even remotely arguing that because it is.
Hey, Black Chapo.
But what I think to me, by the way, listeners on the Mission Start side, we are dual streaming.
This is some
we got
new
some
tech
hot Twitch on Twitch action.
But what I think is important, what I think is something that Nintendo is really going to nail down when it comes to Odyssey is how much fun it'll be to explore that New York landscape, regardless of the realistic people. Yes, it definitely had that Sonic 06 vibe, but what I would like to argue that is,
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
I trust it's actually a finished game because it's Nintendo and not bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And like I said,
Shot Spire to Sonic 06, man, that's the easiest target of them all.
Yeah. like I said, like it was more of a funny thing for me that I just wanted to point it out.
Unless
Like
you're
I still am gonna play that Mario game. Like it's so weird, and it's very Nintendo. If I could have described as far like what the new Mario looks like, or like what it could be. And open world Mario is freaking great. Like I think that's awesome. Like I want to play that game. It's just that's one thing I was confused about. Like what is this? But aside from that, like aside from the very few games I was excited for, like I feel like if this was a press conference, if they wanted to showcase the games on the console to really to sell it, why then was the other games that was showing off the day after during the live event in New York? Why was those showcased during the press conference? Why was Bomberman out there? Why was
honestly, when you watch that conference, you'll notice something about it that's unique from other conferences. Like go to a PlayStation Experience. What does PlayStation do? Game.
Mm-hmm.
Have fun, or whatever the next thing is. Play TV, whatever. They get down to the nitty gritty. There's no pomp and circumstance. Nintendo is all about pomp and circumstance. Plus they're Japanese, so it's a little weird to our Western culture.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like Suda51 was my favorite because he walks in.
Oh
and just
yeah.
Goes,
Goes, yeah, just like what was
It's
that?
a long time for Suda51 to be amazing.
I mean, like but here's the thing with Suda51, like he's always been like that. So I'm not surprised the fact he comes out there and it's like,
Good
doing
answer,
whatever he's doing, and then like he'll like have a picture of Travis touchdowns. Like, it'd be great if a Travis touchdown game again. That'd be cool. I don't know what it is, but that'd be cool. And just like end with this. It's like
That's double reason.
like Suda51's he's cool. I like him. But yeah, like there's things in that press conference where just like very Japanese. Like yeah, there were some things that made me scratch my head a little bit. But like aside from that though, like it still behooves me that
55-gallon drum. Sorry.
No, it's alright. It still behooves me that if this was a press conference to sell, if they were trying to sell me on the console, it did not. At least on initial launch. I'm excited for it again with games coming out over time. And
I
I'll
think
eventually
It
get
sounds
it.
like
But
there's
it's
also
about
a lot-
Chris Krieger's speed.
What's that?
It sounds like it's about Chris Krieger's speed. I mean, then again, not quite, because he's already like pre-ordered.
He's already pre-ordered it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's sold. Like I know he and KB King Sass got a little bit of beef on Twitter. I didn't see the conversation, but I mean,
their whole
Chris has
thing,
opinions
their
and
whole
all.
thing is that, like, I'm kind of in the boat of I'm really really excited about it to the extent that the negative stuff is not bothering me as much as it is everybody else.
How dare you be excited? This is
Well,
bullshit.
I think everyone's excited about something for the Switch. But what I think is
Yeah.
that a lot of people are expressing the stuff that bothers them instead of talking about the stuff that they like.
I mean,
And-
that's
and I-
that's definitely the nature of speaking out on things at all. Is like the negative stuff is the one that the things that are going to crop up first. People are most vocal about the things that they don't like rather than things that they do.
Right, like I think I honestly believe that the Switch's like opening lineup is kind of weak. It's got Zelda, and
Bunch of ports apparently.
yeah.
there's a few ports, and then there's Switch 1-2 Switch,
Scary.
which I don't even think is actually
Jesus.
a launch game. I don't think it is. I could be wrong about that. Somebody correct me. But
Wait, what is?
1-2
1-2
Switch.
Switch?
It's that first initial game they showed off where it's basically like the two Westerners facing each other off, and it's like, oh, shoot or push the button fastest, and then you hear this ding sound on the little monitor.
So essentially like a WarioWare sort of thing.
It pretty much
Yeah,
is.
I watched Treehouse play it the next day, and actually I was watching them do it before I went on my flight. And there's a lot of games that are in 1-2 Switch, not just draw or apparently there's a milking cow game.
Yeah, so to say that, did you want him to have the feeling of milk on a cow? Do you want to
Tell
do
me more.
this motion the entire time? You can do it with the 1-2 Switch.
It's certainly weird. It's certainly different and bizarre, but at the same time, it's kind of Nintendo's quirky thing that I like about them.
Don't drop it.
There's a game where you just hold it in your hand, the palm of your hand, and you can kind of move it around, and you guess how many balls are inside this little noise box that doesn't actually have any balls in it.
Yeah, we could not stop the giggles there.
Yeah.
Hey, it's called ball count.
5.
Just so you
Balls
know.
in the palm of your hand. It's fine.
You
No, we're good.
There's a
Go
mini
ball.
game in there where you hold up the Joy-Con and you fake like you're eating a sandwich the entire time, as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Fucking compelling.
Well,
Really-
I mean,
really
I
pushing-
think
pushing the bleeding edge here.
I'm gonna
I
tell
know.
you why 1-2 Switch exists, because they're like, hey, we wanna show off everything the Joy-Con
Yeah.
can do.
Tech demo. essentially.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
Wii Sports of
Exactly.
this.
Exactly.
Right.
Except
So
Wii Sports was amazing. How dare you? Wii Sports
I-
got grandma to play.
yeah, I don't think 1-2 Switch, because here's the thing, is that like Wii Sports existed and everyone went, I have to have a Wii to play Wii Sports because I want to not actually go to a tennis court or a bowling alley. But
Yeah, right.
but as we've discussed before, Wii Sports kind of died off super quick, and then no one played their Wii.
Yep.
What did they do with the Wii U? They had Nintendo Land, and Nintendo Land was phenomenal.
Nintendo Land had life.
So here's my idea and theory: the Switch
Go.
comes out.
This one's free, Nintendo. Listen up.
Nintendo. I got an idea for you.
All right, have a seat.
1-2 Switch comes out. It's awesome. They come out like 1-2 Switch 2, and it's got like more games on it or whatever, or an update. I don't know. But by the time the next, like the refinement of the Switch, which is like how Nintendo do, innovation, innovation, refinement, so on and so forth. That next system is gonna have an amazing game attached to it. So.
Man, you're fucking banging on the next system already. Jeez.
Oh, dude, I'm thinking ahead for Nintendo. I was
think
also
somebody has
wrong
to.
about a few things. I mean, I'll say that right off the bat.
Yeah.
We talked about this before.
RIP.
I didn't think it was going to be a portable system to begin with. I
Really?
didn't think it was going to have motion controls. I didn't think it was going to have a touchscreen. So
Really?
I was wrong on all those.
I didn't think it was gonna have games.
Well,
Wow.
Which system are you talking about?
I don't know.
Interesting.
What are we talking about?
but yeah, I don't think
Not
1-2
here,
Switch
here.
is meant to be like a system seller. I think it's meant to be more of a demo game. That being said,
Switch,
it
I
should
mean, it makes sense.
absolutely be packaged with the system
It
and
should be.
not a separate game.
Is it not?
No,
it is a
it's not.
separate game.
It is a separate
What
game.
the fucking tits? Like, goddamn Mario Duck Hunt that shit.
Yeah, it should be a pack-in with that console
What is
as a
happening?
bundle.
Nintendo, get your shit together.
Because the thing about that game is like it feels like Nintendo's kind of recapturing that Wii Sports vibe, like how the Wii was as far as like when that came out. And it came out with that game and everybody was on it. And yeah, it should be a pack-in, but like it's a separate game. I'm not sure exactly if it's going to be a game that's going to sell well. I'm not. The only reason I would say it will is because like again, there's only 4 games that are launching with the
that we
with
know
the
of right
system.
now.
Yeah, right now.
It has been said that there will be at least 10, and we know of 4. So
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's some shit going on with this Switch so far that, like, I would like to pick it up. I mean, I'm too broke to even dream, but, if I had the capacity, I would like to get a Switch. People seem to be, like, even a jaded asshole like Chris Krieger, he's already pre-ordered one. So, like, there's something there. There's something there for people to sink their teeth into.
The thing.
go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna.
A lot. I'm just excited. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So here's the thing about my about something else regarding the Switch with the launch.
Have we seen anything of it yet?
So
No?
the thing about the Switch, about the launch, specifically about Zelda, 2 things. One, I've never been excited for a Zelda game in a long time, and this one particularly has me excited, and I'm definitely gonna get it. But 2, if you're trying to sell a system to an audience, your niche audience, to people out there who are curious about the Switch and want to buy a game that showcases what it can do, and I'm assuming Zelda would be that game if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, it's got
well-
fucking groundswell like a motherfucker. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
As-
Zelda's always got groundswell.
Natch. Of
Yeah,
course,
as
the
I
last time
pointed
I was
out
excited
to-
about a Zelda game, it turned out to be Skyward Sword. So we saw how that went.
As I pointed out,
Twilight Princess.
You're okay.
as I pointed out to Anthony on Twitter the night of, I don't think Nintendo is trying to sell Switch. Like, most companies will try to sell you a game on launch. They'll try to come out with some launch games that make you want it.
I mean, Breath of the Wild is pretty much that, though.
But I don't agree. I don't think that's the case. What I hear now, and hear me out.
All right.
I believe Nintendo is trying to sell Breath of the Wild. They're not trying to sell the Switch yet.
Oh, okay.
Their job is to try to sell you a Switch in 2017, not on launch. They would love it if you bought one on launch, but it's about selling Switch to you during this year, which is why they showed games that are coming out throughout the year, not right now. Usually, their conferences, their directs, whatever, are about what's coming out in the next few months. This was about a full year. So...
Yeah, I guess they're not trying to blow their load all at once.
Well, I mean, like, here's the thing about it. Here's the thing about it too that I'm thinking about. Like, if because I was questioning like why would they sell Legend of Zelda, the one title that they've been showcasing for the past year and a half as their flagship title for the Switch. Why would they then also sell it on the Wii U on the same day? But if they're playing the long con, if that's their plan, then we'll have to wait and see how that works out. But my initial thoughts about it is thinking about it. If they're going to have these mini games coming out, wouldn't it be better if they would have launched in the fall? Because then you have a better lineup of games to play on the Switch. You would have the online service ready to go for those who are going to get it early. The online service, there's a beta test period.
They don't have that on board yet. There's a beta test period. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there's going to be like a beta test period in the summer, and the actual initial online service will be going on in the fall.
I guess it kind of makes sense. Like they want to get consoles in hands, and they kind of want. It sounds like they want to enter into this kind of gracefully, like just go in a little bit slowly, not pull a big fireworks show spectacular. Let's get Switches in hands right now. Christmas season. Push.
They could have outsourced this.
Yeah, long con's about a way to put that. Yeah.
They could have outsourced the beta test to other people to give them the Switch early and then test it as much as they can. Yeah. That's another option, but
I mean, Nintendo's always historically been pretty bad about their online capacities.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like I hope that they do away with the friend code. Honestly, I think that because I think
they will.
Because if they do, that'd be great. Because I don't want to. If I want to play Greg online in Splatoon, I don't have to put this 10, 12-digit letter and number combination just to play him. Like,
do you want to know why? Do you want to know why I think they will get rid of the friend code?
All right, let us know.
I also love how I'm leaning back in my chair and it just looks terrible for the camera. I believe they're getting rid of that friend code because they got rid of other things involving their internet. I truly believe that they will start, especially with the service now, full on user accounts. Because they can, hey Nintendo, it's pretty easy to see that the friend code thing ain't working.
Yeah. There are definitely things that there are definitely things that are changing in the company Nintendo that they're not what they used to be. They're finally starting to get out of that mold. Friggin' look at the presentation. Like, they actually had an actual DJ there playing music. You don't see that at Nintendo press conferences. Like, that's actually one of the things that kind of stood out to me. It's like, whoa, Nintendo actually has changed. Was this a younger? So they are changing, but it's not. It's a slow progression. Like, again, very Japanese company.
Very traditional with their business models.
But also as I pointed out, that Brian made the point. They're a toy company, and they're gonna make what is the best toy.
I mean, that ain't entirely wrong. Toy company, they kind of left in the dust essentially. They've become the preeminent name in video games for decades.
They actually have talked shit about adult gamers because they want to be for children. They think it's weird.
Exactly.
They it's weird. For being such innovators, they do have their heads up their own asses for a while.
Oh, definitely.
But I also do believe that they know that the audience, the gaming audience, is not that so much anymore. That where the money is, to an extent, is in that. It's in like
Pachinko?
online gaming and stuff. And razzle frazzle. I believe that Nintendo is seeing the trend and they're going to go the correct route. If I'm wrong, which I have been wrong about Nintendo many times because they're not,
they're a loose cannon. They're fucking Charlie Day.
Yeah.
They're absolutely a loose
Wild
cannon.
card, bitches.
Woo!
Yeah. So there's other things that I was covering over as far as like the news, the detail of the Nintendo Switch. So here's the thing that, and I had this discussion with Greg like on Twitter when I was the night of. Here's the thing I thought of it and I was thinking about today. Is Nintendo really fine being the number 2 console in the household? Because initially when I'm thinking about it, it's like you don't go into a company, somebody like Pepsi hires you, and like you go in and they're gonna say, we're going to be the best Pepsi or beverage company next to Coca-Cola. That's our goal. It's like I never hear a company.
There's a reason why. Most companies that are in a competition, like, now Pepsi doesn't do that. Pepsi competes directly with Coke. But you know what company probably says we're okay being number 2? RC Cola. Like, there are companies that have to know that they're number 2 in the competition, or 3 in this case.
Yeah, you know what you is.
So I think that Nintendo knows that. I think that they're definitely in that. They're the RC Cola of video games.
I'm not. Damn.
That
is shit to say.
Damn.
That's wow.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Okay.
My heart broke a little bit, a lot. Do that. Shit.
I'm playing Banjo-Kazooie, hearing this shit about it.
That was a burn. Whew.
I feel like somebody shit talked my firstborn child.
Real.
That was great.
You just called Desmond a nerd.
Y'all can quote that if you want.
Yeah, he's a little
fucking nerd.
He's a little nooblet.
Nooblet, yeah. I refer to Desmond as a nooblet.
That boy.
But
but Nintendo. I mean, all right. There's the landscape is what it is right now, which is a very tautological and meaningless thing to say. But let me try to get to a point here. The landscape has. We say console. We know what is meant by console. We're talking about the plug up to the TV, entertainment center sort of console, traditional console mindset. The number 1 console, with big air quotes, is mobile. Right. So like everyone's going to be number 2 to that. Everyone is number 2 to mobile because that shit's so accessible. Now,
and
like
Nintendo
they're trying to bridge that gap because historically Nintendo has been the fucking mobile king, and not mobile, but handheld king.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
They've been all about that. Their DS was the strongest selling system in fucking centuries.
Yeah,
like that, it was ridiculous. So they're trying to encapsulate that with the Switch. They're definitely trying to tap into that market as well. So like they're competing directly not only with Microsoft and Sony for their bullshit, but also phones, tablets. Like they don't want to be the number 2, but they're fighting a war on several fronts.
It's a weird position for them to be in, to be fighting both console and mobile. The one thing I will say though, because the one thing I will say to add on to Greg's point as far as like why they took that position, as far as they made number 2 console in the household. If you look at specifically the transition from the GameCube to the Wii. The GameCube actually stood its own graphically with the Xbox original and with the PS2 at the time. But when it came,
GameCube was pretty OP.
Yeah, but when it came to when they switched from the GameCube to the Wii, and you see the other consoles that went 360 and PS3, like it was nowhere near graphically as empowered.
Yeah, there wasn't much of a jump from GameCube to Wii.
Yeah, so it was not much of a graphical jump for the Wii, and that was a pretty tall sign of Nintendo saying that we are we're not gonna invest in graphics. We're gonna invest in games that are fun.
Didn't somebody from Nintendo say a long time ago that we're not competing with the big companies?
I was trying to look for that quote, but I swore I might have heard that. Like, it might have been Reggie. It might have been somebody else.
I actually think it was I can't think of his name. R.I.P. This guy that I can't think of his name.
Iwata.
Iwata. I think it was Iwata.
Okay. You say R.I.P. I immediately go to Gunpei Yokoi because hearts.
Right.
Hearts of that guy. I also love saying his name.
That's fair.
But like, yeah, like that's kind of and your point. Like, if that's the case, then like.
Hutch said in our chat that it was Reggie.
It was Reggie. Okay.
That sounds like something Reggie would say. He's a businessman.
Yeah, he is, definitely is. So, if that's the case, if that's truly what they believe in, and that as far as the consoles in the household, then my second thing would say that, what are the numbers? What exactly are their target numbers? For them to say that they're okay with being the number 2 console in the household, does that mean that also that the sales price or the sales numbers of what they're aiming for is not as high as the other consoles? No, this information, if this may be right or wrong, but listen to other people talking about this.
I have an idea about this, Anthony. I have an idea about it.
Let me finish my thought real quick, Greg, before I let you talk.
No, how dare you?
But like, correct me if I'm wrong about this particular information I'm going to say is that, that they're selling the Switch at a profit or to get equal, like not to sell a console that is always at a loss, because like often when it comes to like the new PS4 or the new Xbox One when it came out, you often hear like they're selling at a cost, that they're playing the selling the consoles over time will make up eventually how much of a deficit they had to make it out of before they get into the green. And correct me if I'm wrong, if that is the correct information. I'm not completely correct if that is right or not. But if that's the case, then I can understand Nintendo's thinking of like, okay, we're gonna sell at this price, we're gonna get a profit or a little bit of a profit with each console, and that we're okay with being the number 2 spot. So
yeah, like I wonder how sly they're being with that bullseye.
Well, I think like what I was gonna say. I think what they're trying to do is they're like, have your Xbox, have your PlayStation, play the hell out of it, and
but also
enjoy
have
it.
us, bitch.
But have us on the side. Have us.
If you're gonna be fighting this battle between Sony and Microsoft, we're there too. You can take sides between Sony and Microsoft as long as you take us.
I'm trying to think of what other companies do that whole like you can have your cake and eat it too. Oh, RC Cola.
You can have your off-brand cake and eat it too.
Kirkland.
Yeah. Kirkland.
Sometimes you can't
really
afford.
Good,
sometimes you can't afford Pepsi or Coca-Cola. We're here for you.
Yeah.
Got you.
So
top run.
So I did a little research regarding the launch lineup when it comes to Nintendo's Switch.
There we go.
Because there were definitely people who were making comparisons, and I looked up just little bits of information about some of the other console launch. So here as a comparison, every other console launch has launched in the past this generation and last one has more substantial girth in games as far as like what they were offering on launch day. So on the Wii U, we'll stick with Nintendo. On the Wii U, they on launch titles were 32 launch titles on launch with the Wii U, including Assassin's Creed 3, Batman Arkham City Armored Edition, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Chasing Aurora, some from Broken Rules, Darksiders 2, Disney Epic Mickey 2, The Power of 2, EA Sports FIFA Soccer 13, ESPN Sports Connection, Game Party Champions, Just Dance 4, Little Inferno, Madden NFL 13, Mass Effect 3, Mighty Switch Force Hyperdrive Edition, Nano Assault Neo, NBA 2K13, New Super Mario Bros. U, Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge, Nintendo Land, Rabbids Land, Scrabblenauts Unlimited, Sing Party, Skylander Giants, Sonic and All-Stars Racing, Transform, Tank, Tekken Tag 2 Tournament Wii U Edition, Transformers Prime, Trine 2 Director's Cut, Your Shape, Fitness Evolved 2013, Warriors Orochi 3 Hyper, Wipeout the Game 3, and Zombie U, the infamous game that
That shit, yeah. So it sounds like there's what, 2 console sellers in there?
Yeah, like, or as far as like just like
Nintendo Land and New Mario Brothers.
Do me a favor and look up launch titles for every console past 2006, and I guarantee you will find very few console sellers on each of those lineups.
I would say, actually, speaking of which, I do get the launch number.
2006, a good point.
Speaking of which, I do have the lineup for the PS4. If you want to have another comparison.
What we got?
So on the launch date, this was for the PS4, and these were games that were launched that were actually pretty good. So Angry Birds Star Wars, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Battlefield 4, Black Flag Retribution, Call of Duty Ghosts, Contrast, DC Universe Online, Dive Kick, FIFA 14, Flower, Unjustice Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition, Just Dance 2014, Killzone Shadowfall, Knack, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Madden NFL 25, NBA 2K14, NBA Live 14, Need for Speed Rivals, Playroom, Resogun, Skylanders Swap Force, Sound Shapes, Super Mudload, Trying 2, The Complete Story, and Warframe.
There's some strong entries there, but none of them really stand out as like universally appealing. Like,
for the record, Lego games are severely underrated.
I've played just about every single one on Half Empty.
Yeah, Chubb, I'm with you there.
Yeah, agreed.
I love those games.
They're so good. They shouldn't be so good because most of them are free and they're so amazing.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of, like with the PS4 there was a lot of like really strong entries for people who are into a specific genre, but the universal appeal doesn't sound quite there.
But
I think that's my
what
point.
It comes down to when it comes to when you're selling one console over another.
Right, and I think that's my point about, like, they're not trying to sell you on launch, especially with their big Zelda title. I mean, again, you have to keep in mind, like, I personally believe that Zelda is, they're not trying to sell. They're trying to sell Zelda. They're not trying to sell the Switch yet.
Yeah. I mean, they've been pushing Zelda for a hot minute because people are getting their dicks wet about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I mean, that's basically a system seller for me if I had the fucking money.
Well, like I told Anthony on Twitter, like, I don't have a Wii U. Like, Anthony's like, I'm gonna get Zelda, but on the Wii U. I'm gonna take a little bit of a hit on the graphical standpoint, but I don't need to spend $300 on a new system when that's the only game even on the new system I want to play. And I'm like, then don't. Then absolutely do not buy a Switch for for Breath of the Wild if you don't need it. I think that the game right now that stands out to me that I have to have a Switch for is Splatoon 2. That doesn't come out until the summer. There's not even a release date for that yet. So,
okay. No love for Heroes.
Speaking of No More Heroes, it's a great game.
Oh, No More Heroes. Well, I mean, like they like Suda 51 came out there and like talked about it, but they didn't really say like what exactly it's gonna be, or launch it or anything like that. So like, I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
I love No More. I love No More Heroes, and I'm excited for the third one. The problem is that we didn't see any footage from it. There was no release date. There was no release window. It was just Suda 51 coming out going, "Wouldn't it be cool if Travis came back?" Travis touchdown,
really,
guys.
that's all I
Remember
need.
him?
I mean,
we'll bring him back.
I already came.
So, I mean...
All I need is Suda 51 to come out and say something.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, something's happening. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, agreed. Like, so, again, like before I came to this podcast, I had to do a lot of research about the Switch and all the information.
What the hell's research? I don't know.
As well as just like, finding like different thoughts from other people. The thing that, it was funny because my brother... he is really into the Nintendo Switch, and he is definitely all about what he's selling. He's bought into it. What I think the reason for such and I'm seeing both sides, and I think the reason why for such a huge, I won't say negative feedback about the Switch or the announcements is the fact that it's more about like people who are concerned or who are against it right now is the fact that they're looking at the Nintendo Switch as a console. Not compared with the other ones, but basically, if the mentality of like, well, if I want to buy one console, what would it be? And if in
Maybe,
that,
but I do believe, Anthony, on that note, there's two people who are going to buy the Switch. You want to know who those two people are? People who don't have a Wii U and want to play the new Zelda game, and then the other group is people who need the new shiny thing.
Yeah, it's
shiny?
an
What shiny? What shiny? Can I have it?
There's nothing wrong with either one. Keep that
Yeah.
in mind. I'm not critiquing either one. I'm just saying those are the two types of people.
Scenario mentions that Fire Emblem Warriors is system seller.
Fire Emblem Warriors looks good.
You gotta have a certain taste in games. I haven't played much Fire Emblem games, but I trust they're up my alley because I fucking love tactics.
I would say that the next Fire Emblem game is not going to be a Fire Emblem game. It's actually just Fire Emblem / Dynasty Warriors, which
right.
is basically the same damn game for the past 10, 20 years. So, like, here in just digesting everything from this past weekend. Like I said, I am not getting a Switch on launch. They didn't persuade me to get one. And that there are some games I'm really excited for, and eventually I will get a Switch, but not now. Down the road, yeah, sure.
Yeah, time. Like I trust that the Switch is pretty much built for Monster Hunter.
It better.
Oh my god, they better have
it better. If it does not have Monster Hunter, that would be huge.
Yeah,
oh
that'd be a giant fuck up. That would be a tragic mistake.
That would be.
Right.
That would be.
It is entirely built for that. Like, shit. I remember having to do fucking ad hoc back when Monster Hunter FU was a thing, when we were playing PSP, doing ad hoc on the PS3 to play online. Like this is exactly the sort of system that Monster Hunter was fucking built for.
I'll tell you right now, there's going to be a make or break for the Switch, and Crit's actually made a very good point about it on Twitter, and that's its online capabilities.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah,
so
they're gonna need to really step it up on that because they've been really lax in the past.
Yeah.
Nintendo in general.
Yeah, online.
Oh god, yeah.
Absolutely.
Historically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying right now, like, if their service is comparable to the Xbox or PlayStation Network, Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, they're gonna be solid. And it sounds like that's the route they're going, but I don't know.
What I will say to add to your point, Greg, is that when PSN went from free to play to a paid service, their online service got a lot better. So
that's okay. My point exactly.
Yeah. So that there is hope that it may be the case. But yeah, online's gonna be huge for them. Like, because for the longest time they never wanted to do online. They never wanted to because you know whether it be different cultures, whether in Japan, like, you have people coming over to people's places and actually playing the system next to each other on the couch, versus over here in the U.S. we were about the online, playing somebody from a couch from East Coast LA to New York. Like, that was the main thing that happened in the generations of consoles, from one console to another, and they have been coming in or they've been not wanting to, but they've been dragged into it, kicking and screaming, as far as like getting online implemented in the next consoles and so on and so forth. So this is the evolution of that, and it's gonna be huge because like if the online service sucks, it's gonna hinder them, and
that's gonna destroy the console. I guarantee it.
You heard what I said? Oh, about right.
Especially maybe not destroy it, but it'll definitely hurt it in 2018. Because I think what's going to sell a lot of Switches is Odyssey.
Get it, Luis.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely going to be
Luis' picture didn't happen.
But we'll see. We'll definitely see. Okay. Like I said, my stance is I'm excited about it. I definitely want one. Hopefully with my income tax, they aren't all sold out, and I can actually get one on launch.
I'm gonna tell you exactly how that's gonna roll out, because Nintendo has done it in the past. They're going to undersell their console, and when we undersell, I mean they're going to like put out a limited number, and then say that, hey, it's sold out. It's a huge success. And realistically, they've done that with the NES Classic as of late. They've done it with the Amiibos. It's a history of them doing it over and over again.
So, like,
and
artificially padding their success.
Pretty much. It's going to happen again with the Switch. So like it's going to be that.
Kind of artificial.
Yeah. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But if I'm wrong, I'm glad. If I'm right, then it's like, hey.
Oh, one thing we didn't touch on that maybe we did touch on it and we just kind of skipped past it. One thing that I will say I don't like, and I imagine it'll change. I imagine that down the road they'll come out with a version that has a higher memory storage, but 32 gigabytes is pretty weak.
Yeah, but then that's fine because you can expand the storage with other SD cards you can buy for a pretty cheap deal. It was the same thing for the Wii U, so it's nothing out of the ordinary for that. So I mean, it sucks. I wish that the fact that it was more than just 32 gigabytes of inner storage, but
it was up.
It's the same thing with Wii U. So I would like to see it more bigger, but it's whatever for
more
now.
Bigger,
more bigger wrist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah,
big into the smallest system, the smallest launch.
Yeah, but overall, I think that
I'm digging you.
Overall, I think time will tell when it comes to Nintendo Switch. I think the online service is going to be. I actually do agree with you, Greg. I think it will be a make or break move for Nintendo.
It's before your time.
So it's going to be huge. I think that if they're very fine, if they're fine with being number 2 console, and like if the numbers show that that's what they're aiming for and that's what they want to do, then that's fine. Then whatever numbers they're aiming for that they can reach, that to make the company still going, then all power to them. It's just because Nintendo is such a weird and different company that you don't normally see with Sony and Nintendo. Normally you do have games coming out consistently or on a month-to-month basis that people want to play. But when it comes to Nintendo, you have only several games you want to play. Play it, get the game.
I swear
to
Christ,
don't play the console for a while. Play something else. Come back to it to play this other game. Go back to whatever you're doing. So, yeah, like it's a weird company. But if that's what they want to do, and that's sort of goal, then that's fine.
They've always been that oddball.
Yeah. It's just that the comparison, and I get the fact that a comparison to other companies, and as far as like the other game consoles, how exactly they work and how exactly a successful, as far if you look at them. But when you look at Nintendo, that's not how they operate, and
it's weird. Like Nintendo, they do have that traditional Japanese business sense about them, but they're also on the fringe at the same time. It's a strange sort of dichotomy there, because they they got their innovation going on, but like they do tend to be stubborn and kind of stuck in their ways, but their ways are to be innovative, I suppose. So like they're gonna go Nintendo's way, I mean they went Nintendo's way with the Wii U. They committed. They went full ham on it. It didn't go so well. I mean, it wasn't a terrible system, but it did not go well, by the numbers. But yeah, it kind of like it set the stage for the Switch, I suppose. So like there's hope for the Switch. I think the launch, as disappointing as it might be, I think we got some chop going on. They have something to work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Greg, your thoughts? You've been the entire defender of Nintendo this entire time. I try to come at you with some facts and from the devil's advocate view, but after this entire conversation, it's like, yeah, well, Nintendo's being Nintendo. So
I get a follow from not funny.
I'm excited about it. I'm definitely looking forward to playing a lot of it. I understand that a lot of people are skeptical on their internet thing. I know that a lot of people think that their controller prices are too steep, and
which they are.
From my perspective, I have faith that Nintendo will do internet correctly. I don't think that the controller prices are that much pricier. I mean, it's like it's sure $10 more for their Pro controller, but whatever. I'm sure the price will go down later. I truly believe that they're not trying to sell you a console on launch. They're trying to sell you a console in 2017, and there's a lot of potential for future rad stuff on the system. With the way that their Joy-Cons work, there's just so much really cool potential. So I'm excited to see what Sega comes out with on it. I'm excited to see with what
there's a Chevrolet voice going on. So Chris is here. He has opinions, I hear.
Oh.
Hello, opinions.
Oh, Chris is at Slappies.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's right. Because in about 40
just knock
minutes,
it on the floor. Just throw it.
there's a stream going
on. Take that, fucker.
Oh yeah.
Scooting over for you.
Yeah, but I definitely hear you.
Noise, folks.
I definitely hear you. I personally I still agree with the Joy-Con thing. I think that look, if an accessory costs more, and I get the fact that there's technology in it that would justify the price, but it's still to me like
thanks for that follow.
If an accessory like sells more than an actual game, in my opinion, it's still, it's something that does not do well with me.
Just hear the word opinion, you're like,
Well, I think it doesn't do well with you or other people is because the standard you already have. We talk about the price of games nowadays. How there's that standard of $60 where you, I, and everybody else have played games that are not worth $60. But we've played other games that are absolutely worth more than $60, and I think that definitely plays into the role that Nintendo is. They're kind of shaking things up. They're showing you that, hey, not everything is going to be a standard price. Not everything's going to be super cheap, and either deal with it or don't. That's up to you. And I like that. I think that's kind of what I dig right now. So I don't know.
Yeah. Time will tell for sure. Slappy, what's your final thoughts on everything?
I'm broke. That's where I go. Like I would like the Switch. I think there's, like I said, I think there's potential there. The launch, as disappointing as it may be, as Chris can definitely elaborate upon, there's a, people have been, simultaneously super hype. I mean, hype enough for this guy to pre-order. Super hype and kind of lackluster. If I had the money to dream, I'd go for it. I'd go in. I think Breath of the Wild is a system seller for me at the very least, and the potential for Monster Hunter to stick with Nintendo and be released on a system that is right up its alley, I'd be in. And I'm curious about the Mario Odyssey as well. So like I think there's enough there to work with. I would say fucking thumbs up.
All right. Is Chris there by any chance? Like, is he right there physically?
Yeah,
all right, so
I'm here.
Chris hasn't said anything because he just got there. Chris, we're gonna give you the floor for 10 minutes. You tell us your opinion on the Switch.
10 minutes. Wow.
Oh shit! Brace yourself.
Dag.
It's a lot of time. Well, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Like Tony said, Slappy over here. I was hype enough to pre-order it immediately. As soon as it was announced that the pre-orders were up, I was good to go. I pre-ordered it. I really shouldn't have spent the money, but I'm, gonna make it work.
Yeah, what's the price point?
300.
Word.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
As new consoles go, that it could definitely be worse.
It could be worse. Yeah.
I'm okay with the price, by the way. The 300 price for the Switch, I think is fine.
I have no problem with the price of the base console whatsoever. I think that's a great price. It was pretty much what people expected. A few people were hoping for a 250 price point, but really, 300 is great. As of right now, we don't know if any software comes with the console, at least as far as I know. I kind of thought 1-2 Switch would be included with the console.
Yeah, that's what they were saying as well.
It looks like one of those kind of console gimmick titles that shows you how it works. I heard you guys when I came in talking about the accessory costs. That's certainly a downfall of the system. Wouldn't keep me from buying it. It just means I'm going to be waiting quite a while after getting it before I get any accessories. I won't be, going out and grabbing a pair of Joy-Cons for $80 to play with a friend immediately.
Right. That's why I keep saying. So I keep telling people that I'm not going to get the Pro Controller until there's a game that I want with it.
Right. I'll play Breath of the Wild because I went out and, of course, pre-ordered Breath of the Wild immediately as well, the special edition. I definitely would have gotten the Master Edition if I was not sleeping when it was put up on every website in existence. But I'll see how that plays on the twin Joy-Cons before I completely roll out using them and going and buying a Pro Controller. Like, there's no need to jump right into getting every accessory that's out for the console. I think the console itself, people have already started criticizing it as still less powerful. I think they still don't get the point. They're the same people who said it about the Wii and the Wii U. It's going to be a fun console. It's better than the Wii U in terms of performance. It's going to have much better graphics. You can do a lot more with it. I mean, these are all probably some of the things you guys have already talked about, but the console itself is sold. I'm on it. The things that are weak with it, which do not diminish my hype for it,
despite what KB might say,
despite what some people might think, I point out a lot of flaws and things because I'm a jerk.
He has opinions.
I have opinions.
I assure you.
But I also tend to criticize the things I like the most, like a lot of people.
And Chris is right in his name.
Video games, yeah, it's Chris Krieger. So yeah, there's a lot of games that have been announced. There's something like 50 plus games that have been announced for the next year. Right. But my problem with that is that a lot of those games are either re-releases, even if they do have a little bit of new content or something like Binding of Isaac and Shovel Knight. They're still, yes, Binding of Isaac, if you didn't know, Afterbirth Plus has essentially been, I think it has been announced, just no release date, which is one of my other issues with the lineup, is that there's kind of a block of 26 games on a chart that's like 5 games for launch, and one of them is a system seller, and the others are like, it might be nice to have.
That's happening sometime.
Like Bomberman, it's cool, it's Bomberman.
Exists, I guess.
And then there's a list of things that they already exist, and I guess if you're a Nintendo fanatic and you never bought into Skyrim before, you now have your chance. But it is Skyrim. It's something I own at least once, maybe twice already. Things like that are a little disappointing. But there are more things being announced every day. There's all kinds of things being announced, and they will continue to be. That's one of the things that excites me the most about the Switch, is that they actually have some really heavy third-party support. We don't know when a lot of those games are going to come out, but we know they're coming. We know there's going to be a much more diversified lineup for the Switch, even if it might not be until 2018. What else was I going to lead into? Yeah, I had a whole bunch of things in my head to say. Oh, the online service. That's another favorite topic of people. The online service does not necessarily bother me, but I'm skeptical. I love the idea of paying for a service that actually works really well. And people know that PSN and Xbox Live did not start out all that great. They started out many years ago, but they didn't start out all that great when they started out. And Nintendo is giving the online service to everyone who has a Switch for like the first 6 months. You really can't complain about a free online service when they're putting it out for free, hopefully with the intention of making sure it's solid and good, and it's going to work well when that 6 months is up and they actually start asking people to pay $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever it ends up being per month. I imagine it'll be similar to Xbox Live and PSN, where you'll have some kind of per month, per 3 months, per 12 months.
Yeah, and I trust it'll be like an actual like hub station, like there's actual content in the online service itself. Right.
I'm sure they'll bring the shop, the eShop up, and there will also be online play. They've already announced that voice communication is not going to be on the Switch. All voice communication for games when using the online service is going to be through a companion app.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you'll use your mobile device, which I also have no problem with. I think it's an interesting step. Reggie came out and said, this isn't a step back. This is kind of our idea of, if you're carrying your Switch around, we don't want you to carry your giant razor cans on your head.
And it also
throw your earbuds in and go.
It also seems like a good way of like kind of maintaining liability about the toxicity of voice chat in many competitive games. So like they can leave it to the companion app to manage that. Like
it'll still be their app.
Fair enough. I mean,
it'll still be up to them to.
I will say I will
there.
regurgitate what Zump had made a point. I think it was Zump anyway. What about the person who has a Switch but doesn't have a mobile phone? I'm gonna kind of sound a little bit like Microsoft when they first came out with the Xbox One.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a Switch, you probably have a mobile phone. Just
right.
It out there.
If you're shilling out the money for a Switch and you have the means and the technology to do that, chances are you have some kind of device.
It's not unheard of.
That even if it's just sitting in Wi-Fi, you can use.
Because again, like I said, they're not trying to be just number 2 console in terms of consoles. They're also like trying to be in the same market as mobile devices. So they're assuming that you're going to have one. Right. Because they're so ubiquitous.
Nintendo's never really been, for a long time, they've never been the ones who are like, hey, Xbox, Sega, Sony, whoever, we're gonna like take
Get
you head
fucked.
on. They're the ones who find a niche. They're still, it's portable. The others are not portable, but at the same time, at its heart, it's a home console. Reggie especially has come out and he kind of knows. I think he can see. He's got the, he's in America most of the time. He kind of gets how we think. He looked at it and he said, guys, this is a home console. Please don't think you're going to carry this around like a 3DS and it's going to be your everything.
Yeah,
this is a home console you can carry.
Agreed. Because I told my brother this, but I am not gonna carry around the Switch as a mobile device, even though it can be. But I'm not going to, because that thing, I feel like if I take it somewhere, like I don't want to endanger it as far as like dropping it on the ground. Because given the fact the track record that Nintendo's product has always been pretty durable, the fact that I'm carrying around a $300 device in my hand, and then if I drop it, it will break, I'll be very sad. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, cool.
Their whole system's essentially a tablet, so that's
Right.
kind of.
It's another friend of mine had an interesting quick perspective. When I said I was going to get it immediately, he said it looks cool. I could probably get it, but he's skeptical because moving parts usually means things wear down faster. So if you're actually the kind of person who's going to drop your Switch on its station, pick it up, drop your Switch on its station, pick it up, pull the Joy-Cons off, put them back on, pull the Joy-Cons off, put them back on, like those contacts are going to wear over time.
Mm-hmm.
So he was concerned if he's paying all this money for, that was air quotes, for something that he didn't want it to, after 6 months, need replacement contacts or, something wear down like that. So it was an interesting point I didn't think of.
Mm-hmm.
Hutch and Josh over on the Mission Start page over here said, Hutch says, Tony didn't have a smartphone until recently. Just seems cumbersome to have to deal with two devices for functionality when one device should be able to handle it. Josh agrees with that.
Yeah,
I will say this.
If we're able to maintain a speaker.
Right, because my laptop sucks. When I play games, like when we played the 8-bit deathmatch on Heat on Halloween, I couldn't pull up Discord on my laptop because it slowed everything down. I had to pull up Discord on my phone and use it then. And it's not that cumbersome. It's not that much of a problem. It seems cumbersome to someone like Hutch, who doesn't have to deal with the technical limitations that I have to deal with. Yeah. But I will say, what I will agree with is that there should have been a party system within the Switch. And maybe that will happen over time. I think that if enough people say, like, this kind of sucks, or, like, I can't play with my nephew because he doesn't have anything that he can, I can't talk to, like, I can be on the phone with him, I guess. Like that kind of thing might become a problem, and they might add a party system into it.
Yeah.
Because even Xbox didn't have a party system when it first came out. Like they had to patch that shit in when, when people were like, "Hey, I'm trying to play Halo online, but everyone's calling me the F word."
Yeah. So as much as I love to keep this going, it is well past our normal hour time. Also the fact that I really need to watch my Packer game because it is now tied 28-28.
Yeah, I see that.
We have about 4 minutes left, so I have to actually watch this rest of this. But before I end the stream, I want to thank Slappy and the rest of the Heat crew. Who hopped on to talk about this because the Nintendo Switch definitely is like this past week we're going to talk about other news, but this was the biggest news we had to talk about and take the entire time to talk about, like, even though I can't even say it right now.
You got your fam.
But no, shout outs to you guys. And also I told Greg this prior to at the beginning of the podcast, like, congrats to you guys again for the $10,000 you guys raised over at MacFest.
That's good, man.
Yeah. But before we go, where can you find you guys on the internet? I'll start with Slappy.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. Slappy, as you mentioned, I'm Slappy Meats. I'm streaming on my channel right now. A couple of you folks have already followed, but it's, of course, twitch.tv/Slappy Meats. That me. There's also Half Empty Energy Tank. That's a lot of us. Twitch.tv/Half Empty Energy Tank. In fact, I think it was already posted, wasn't it? No, look, we can put it in there. That is our stream team. We are the ones who did the Mega Man-a-thon, raised all that mon-mons for the kids.
Mon-mons.
Chub Rock's on there, Kritz is on there, I'm on there, and alongside Manic Pixie Dirtbag over here is on there as well when we do things.
Cool, awesome. Greg, where can I find you on the internet?
I thought you were gonna go to Kritz.
Well, I mean, I can go to Chris too afterwards.
Okay, you can follow me on anything social media wise under Chub Rock Geek. Just search Chub Rock Geek into Google and you will see all my social medias. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Find me on Snapchat under Chub Rock Snap. This year is going to be a new year for me, as the last time you heard from me, if you're a regular of the podcast, that I have done a lot of 2016's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and then it never happens. 2017 is going to be the year where I shut up or wait, how does it go?
Shut up or also shut up.
The year of the chub.
Right, shut up or shut up.
Year of the chub.
But
I guess
you will see more. You will see more content from me. You will see more stuff from me, but that'll be all on the Mission Start page.
Okay, boy.
Mainly because all I do on Half Empty at this point is stream on Saturdays or cover somebody else. But if you follow me on social media, you'll see when I'm streaming.
It's basically half the Chub stream on Half Empty.
I'm also planning more streams on my own personal channel.
Yeah, boy.
So there's that. But, yeah, well. But yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, by that token, I forgot. Yeah, you mentioned all across the internet. Yeah, you can find me pretty much anywhere as Slappy Meats. Just if you Google my name, be prepared to see porn because I draw it.
Awesome. Kritz, what
commissions?
Craig, where can I find you on the internet?
You can find me at most of the usual outlets. You can find me at Facebook and Twitter with just searching for Kritz Krieger. And you can usually find me streaming at Half Empty Energy Tank. But I also plan to try to kind of, kick the butt of 2017 and stream a little bit more on my own channel, which is Kritz Krieger. It's an odd word to spell, but it's Kritz like critical hits and Krieger like either that guy from Archer or the German word for warrior. So Krieger, I think.
So February's going to be a big month for you.
I'm going to try to stream every day in February. We'll see what happens.
Awesome.
It's a commitment. So
yeah, man.
That's where you can find Kritz Krieger.
Awesome. Good stuff. And you can follow me personally on Twitter at Defective Naruto. You can follow the work that me and Greg do on our website at missionstartpodcast.com, as well as on this Twitch channel for our weekly podcast here on twitch.tv/missionstartpodcast. Every Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m., we do our weekly video game podcast, so we talk about everything in the past week in video game news. Speaking of which, if you enjoy this podcast, if you enjoy watching us on YouTube or on this Twitch channel, or if you want to listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, you can do so. Look up Mission Start Podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, as well as on our website in the podcast section for your weekly podcast version of Mission Start Podcast. I usually upload them on Tuesdays, so definitely be on the lookout for that. If you enjoy us talking about conventions we've been to, Comic-Con, Anime Expo, and whatnot, and our full thoughts about each convention, check out the Conover, which is also available on iTunes, Stitcher, and as well in the podcast section of our website. And last but not least, if you enjoy comic books, entertainment, movies, kind of a bit of everything nerdy, check out the Rolling 20s, hosted by Jeremy Wilson on our website. It's also on iTunes, Stitcher. You can definitely check it out every week. Every Friday is a new episode of the Rolling 20s, and I suggest you guys go check it out. With that being said, thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Heat, for joining me, as well as Greg. But that's going to do it for us. So I can only think of one possible way to end it in the fact that we're talking about the Switch, is doing this. So I'll see you guys next week for another episode of Mission Start Podcast.